Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about tax season. You guys, it is tax season, and as a sticker shop I have to file taxes on my sticker shop and YouTube and everything that I earn online. And I get asked a ton of times by smaller shops or just starters of how do I file taxes? What is it that I do? And today I'm just going to break down what I do as a sticker shop owner to file my taxes, what I provide for my tax preparer to make their life easier, my life easier, and the process smooth. Now, of course, this is not legal advice. This is not how to do your taxes. This is just how I've experienced to do my taxes. And I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown of what I do. Now, of course, I won't show real numbers, but I will tell you how much I pay to get my taxes done in case you're interested in a ballpark. So let's get into it, and I'm gonna break it down part by part. So the first part that I provide is all the gross income that I have for each individual section of what Erika Life Vlogs is. So if you guys don't know, Erika Life Vlogs is a sticker shop. It's also my YouTube channel, and it's also an affiliated brand collaboration, and those all get me income, gross income that is not taxed, that I have to do and take care of my own. So what I do is that I have a spreadsheet of how much each of those sections makes every month. I have a sheet breakdown of January to December, because in my scenario, depending how focused I am, I may receive a 1099 form or I may not receive a 1099 form. Luckily for the new year, everyone's gonna receive one of those 1099K forms or miscellaneous forms, because by law, after $600 in revenue, it's legally required for all these businesses to provide the, us little individuals that use those platforms. So that's the first thing that I've done. I've laid out how much my Shopify makes. I make how much my YouTube makes, how much affiliate does in revenue, and then or any other links that I might have, like Amazon. So that is everything that I include, and that is all gross income. So that is a spreadsheet in itself, and it just gives them a total. My accountant or my tax preparer then goes ahead and compares those numbers to my 1099 miscellaneous that YouTube provides or Google AdSense provides, and then he also just, to be on the more comfortable side, he goes ahead and checks my Shopify financial overview page, and he gets those numbers there. So it's just as a, like a fact check reference to make sure that what I'm putting on these spreadsheets makes sense to what two different areas have listed. So once we moved away from the income spreadsheet that I have, I then move on to fees. If you guys don't know, you guys get charged fees for a lot of things that you might not even know, and they all have their own separate transactions for it, depending on where you are, selling your products and what platforms you're using. Now, Shopify does have transaction fees. You just gotta pay attention to what column in those 1099K transaction forms they are in. So I usually put transaction fees from Shopify and PayPal, because they all have their own transaction fees, and then I also include the shipping fees that I'm charged. Now, if you are more of the Etsy seller side, you guys have listing fees, and that is also a deduction, so you can also include those in there. But since I'm on a Shopify plan, that kind of just has its own little plan that takes care of everything. But I do have a spreadsheet for fees that I'm charged to use these platforms for. So transactions and shipping fees. You guys pay that to me, and I pay back to the account. So that's how that works. Now, once I moved on from the transaction fees, this is where the biggest spread of them all happens, and that is materials and supplies. So the materials and supplies include anything and everything that I use for my shop. Now, I use Amazon a lot, so it's easy to categorize a lot of my expenses within the year, because I just go to Amazon and I just get all my yearly expenses or purchases in one shot, and I just list them down and by date and the cost of everything. So that is usually the longest I have to take, because I'm usually not the best at keeping up with this monthly, and I'm probably usually rushing it at the end of the year to complete it before tax season is in like full effect. But yes, materials and supplies is something that is the biggest tackle of everything. And that literally is just literally sticker paper for me, ink, mailers, cello bags, labels for, you know, my shipping label machine, all that kind of stuff is included. Ink bottles, anything and everything that I use for my shop goes in that materials and supplies list. And that also includes like licensing, digital papers, graphic, art, anything that I may use for any sticker creation included there. Like last year, I bought a new printer that went on there. That's a material supply that I needed for my sticker shop, because I was going through printers like there's no other. I also needed a laminator when I started doing like cash envelopes. It was just so many things that compiled, and anything like cameras, memory cards, hardware drives, all of that's materials and supplies that I need for all sections of my business. Because like, if you guys don't know, Erika Life Vlogs is lots of tiny little things combined into one whole thing. I'm a sticker shop, I'm a content creator, and I'm an affiliate, and all of that takes time, production, and a whole lot of everything. So make sure when you do your materials and supplies list out everything, including if you need pens, if you need like a whiteout, if you need notebooks, put that in there, because that goes towards your expenses for your shop. You can always like separate the two. One is like materials for production and manufacturing, and then materials for like office supplies and stuff. So just make sure you know exactly how to divide them, in case your tax preparer or whoever's doing your taxes asks you like, what's this and what's this? At least you have it in their own categories. Okay, once you have your materials and everything set, there's other more technical areas that I list separately. And this is more on the yearly or quarterly expenses that my shop has. And a lot of it has to deal with like domains and all that stuff. So in its own separate spreadsheet that I do, I go ahead and I put expenses of the technical things that you don't really think about, but that are expenses for my shop or anything Erika Life Vlogs. And that includes my PO box, because that hoe is expensive, and of course it's always needed because of privacy, because you don't want to be sending out anything with your personal address. I mean, you can, that's fine, but not me. I use a PO box. So my PO box is including these kind of technical expenses that I need for the shop. Amazon subscriptions, because as a business I'm constantly ordering stuff, and I need Prime, and I need this into my house, and I'm buying in bulk. So that's also another technical expense that I have yearly. Also my subscription for iCloud, because everything that I make, produce, or have content for goes into storage, because it's everything that I've ever done for my shop or for just my little tiny business. So that goes on there. I also have other technical things like how much my tax preparer for the previous year has cost me, because that is also a tax deduction. If you paid someone to do your taxes because it's regarding your business, it's a deduction. So just like this year that I paid to get my taxes done, that'll go in a deduction spreadsheet for the next year, and that'll get deducted. So those are kind of the technical things that I have there, especially when it comes to your domain. If you have your own domain, you pay for it yearly, that goes on there. If you're like on Shopify, you have to buy a Shopify plan, that goes on that kind of technical form that like spreadsheet that I make. So anything like those kind of like subscriptions that you don't really think about it, or annual plans that you know go towards your small business, that's where I put it in a small spreadsheet. Now of course, this is just me. This is not legal advice. This is not me telling you how to do it. It's just what I do to help smooth the process of tax preparation. Because trust me, you're not just gonna go and be like, here are my receipts, figure it out. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. You gotta do all the legwork, and then just answer questions when your tax preparer has a question for stuff that you have written down. Next, I do have another like category tiny spreadsheet when it includes to like furniture or anything big that has to deal with my shop. For sometimes shelving, that's for my shop. Desk, that's for my shop. More desk for my shop. All of those things that you just need to house all your electronics and stuff, that has its own category. Luckily, I haven't had too much of an expenses on that. You can also just have like a like more of like, what do you call it, more of a technology category spreadsheet in case, you know, you have expenses for cameras, tripods, light, SD cards, microphones, or, you know, anything that is more software ish. You can put it in its own little category, and then they can just run it down and add it to other categories that you have already in your spreadsheet, or just have it as its own separate identity, and they'll just fill in the blanks in the tax preparation. Because that's exactly what I do. Now that it's all that's out of the way, I do also have another category, and that is if you pay quarterly taxes. When I first started my sticker shop or just anything at Erika Life Vlogs, I didn't know about quarterly taxes until I had to do my taxes for the first time and I was penalized. Now, this doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's not necessary. But I have a spreadsheet of when I pay my quarterly taxes because my tax preparer wants to know the amount and who it's paid to. So if you pay quarterly taxes, just keep a quick little like box where all your little quarterly payments are made, the dates, and you're good to go. Because like that, you're not penalized at the end of the year for not giving the IRS the money. Because that's at the end, that's what matters. The IRS wants their money, and if you don't give it to them when they want it, they'll charge you a fee for not doing it. So I always have that kind of like info box in some of my spreadsheets because I forget when I pay my quarterly taxes, but I pay them. So that's that. Now here's where all the gray area happens when it comes to Erika Life Vlogs, YouTube, and all of that. And that is stuff that I buy and spend my money on for content. That's a tricky one. That's why that one has its own spreadsheet, and whatever I know is not like directly into the manufacturing or the production of anything, I have its own little spreadsheet. And at the end of the year, when it's time for taxes, my tax preparer can be like, that's not valid, that's not valid, that is valid, that is valid. We just go down that list, and that includes anything that I buy for reviews, that I buy to showcase on my channel. Anything and everything that is on camera that I share goes on that spreadsheet, including my nails. And yes, my nails are a deduction because it's part of my maintenance, you know, upkeep. And it depends where you're at in the season of life and how your tax preparer sees it fit. Sometimes they see it fit, sometimes they don't. So I just put it in that category, and I'm like, my nails go in here. So I'm like, like my planners and other sticker shop areas, that goes in there. So these are just the tiny miscellaneous things that I add on there, especially if I show it on camera and I show it on YouTube, because that is also creating me royalty revenue. So yes, that is exactly what I do to do my taxes. Tons of spreadsheets, a lot of legwork, a lot of maintenance on keeping up with everything that I spend my money. And it's a lot. You forget. That's why I always have a dedicated email when you use anything and everything for anything that goes for the business that you're running. Other than that, I can just go ahead and run down how much taxes have cost me in the entire time that I've been doing them. So the first year I had a friend do them, and I think all I did was pay what I owed. So that wasn't too bad. But as my shop grew, I had to start getting tax preparers and accountants. Now, the one that I had for a long time, he would charge me hourly. It depends who you go with, but tax preparers or accountants can charge you by the hour or by the form. And it can get expensive. It can get expensive. My accountant would do it by the hour, and I would usually spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours with them, and that would usually rack me up about $250 to $300. However, mine sadly passed away, and I had to go with more of a commercial kind of giant tax preparer, and those individuals charge me by the form. Now, if you're wondering, what do you mean by the form? Well, if you have a 1099K, that's a fee. If you have a W-2, that's a fee. If you have like a health insurance sheet, that's a fee. Any form that they need to input, they charge it, and they have their own charging system that they just keep deducting. That gets really expensive, and I think usually CPAs run by that as well. And those range from $500 to $600 to $700. I was in the $500 area, so I was close to like, I think $500 to $550 when I went with a commercial kind of like tax preparer. This year, when I went to an individual tax preparer, they didn't tell me how much it was, how they were charging per hour or per form, but it was less expensive than corporate ones, more like commercial ones that you see like in commercials and just plastered everywhere, or as soon as you Google something, they're there. Yeah, less than that. And this time around, I was in the $400 to $500 category of paying for taxes. Taxes is expensive, but the good thing is when these people file their taxes, if by any means necessary, the IRS is like, I'm gonna audit you, they have your back. That is why you pay them this type of money, because they are gonna represent you and they can back up how is it that they filed, their credentials, and why they filed the way that they do, because no one wants to be audited. And that's why you gotta like have all this legwork done in spreadsheets and just have receipts of everything. Make sure you're keeping up with it. So yeah, it can really range depending who you go with and if they're a friend or not. You know, it just depends. If they're an extreme professional, or if they're a novice, or they're just doing you a favor, the price ranges range from inexpensive to really expensive, and it can also depend on the state that you are. So yeah, that is how I deal with my taxes as the sticker shop or as a Erika Life small business owner. Luckily, like I've been told, 2023 filings are going to be a lot simple, because once you hit that $600 mark in sales, legally you're owed these 1099 forms, and it will just make life so much simpler, because then you really just have to be tracking your expenses and fees, to be honest. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helps any small business that is barely starting up, or it's the first time you guys are doing taxes. It might be a little late into the tax season, but if you're still on like getting there and you still have like your 2-3 weeks to file, I got you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And like I said, this is not legal advice. This is not how you're supposed to do it. This is just how I just do by routine now, because of what I've always been asked of once I have to go in for my initial consultation. Other than that, I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions that are tax related, just know I might not be helping you down in the comments below, because I am legally not allowed to give you tax advices. So if you have any tax questions, send them towards your tax preparer. They'll be more than glad to help you. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.